Now that we're halfway through the 2020 era, I want to be able to highlight and try and determine where this timeline will be heading for this era specifically. The best way I can describe this era is trying to build a team around a bunch and as many B plus to A minus players as possible and try to step away from the era before where there was such a heavy focus on trying to pick up as many A plus guys while trying to surround them with a whole bunch of C's that are separated by being specialized in one specific category. The fastest way I can explain is try and take a step back to 2012 when it was the OKC Thunder versus the Miami Heat, the Heatles. When you look at the way these two teams were structured, you will find a lot of problems pretty quickly. They tend to have the same issue of being very top heavy. Based on that era, this is a very solid roster. You got your two superstars, your 1A, 1B, and then you got a really good third option, and then it slowly starts dropping off where you got guys that are technically shooters, but you also got a lot of defensive specialist players, but they can't really do much on the offensive end and kind of vice versa. And the Heat kind of had that same problem too, where, yeah, they had Braun, yeah, they had Wade, yeah, they had Bosh, great squad. But then the drop-off is so visible that anytime one of those three players would sit down, their team would kind of tank. But like I was saying earlier, that's just the way the teams were set up back then because of it was designed around the idea of I just need to be as top heavy as possible because as long as I have this guy, he beats your guy and that's it. That kind of hints at the idea that the NBA is surrounded around the great man mythology, where it's like, as long as we have this one guy, we have a chance of winning it all, even though the team is lackluster at best. And when you start looking in the past 5 years, you start to notice something very particular. Each team had the greatest average talent in relative to everybody else. The goal seems to always be, especially with this recent championship, try and have as many playable players as possible. But the team that I believe explains this idea the best is the 2023-2024 Boston Celtics for one main reason. When you look at their squad, they had so many long and playable wings that it got to the point where defensively teams couldn't do nothing. And then offensively, it's kind of hard to pick your poison when it comes to trying to switch onto different defenders. And that's the direction I think the NBA will be going for this next 5 years.